Hello everyone, welcome back to Ananta Wealth Management. Let's dive into how significant Social Security is for our seniors. For those of you who are or will be over 65, Social Security isn't just a benefit, it's often a cornerstone of financial security in retirement. Let's dive into more details in the next slide. Now, let's talk about how Social Security does more than just help with the retirement. In 2024, a big 78.5% of the money from Social Security went to people who retired and also to their families, which shows how important it is for when you stop working. But it's not just for old age. Social Security also helps people who can't work if they are disabled. In 2024, 10.5% of the money went to the disabled people and to their families. It's good to know that 90% of workers between 21 and 64 years old are covered if they get really sick or hurt. Think about this one. One out of every four 20-year-olds might need this help before they turn 67, and 65% of workers in regular jobs don't have extra insurance for if they get long-term sick. Survivor benefits are also key, making up 11% of benefits last year. That means if someone who is young passes away, their kids are protected in most cases, and about 96% of workers in their 20s and 40s have this safety net for their kids. Looking ahead to 2025, about 185 million people will be covered by Social Security benefits. But not everyone has extra ways to save for when they are old. 30% of workers in regular jobs don't have a private pension plan. About 2 out of 3 people are trying to save for retirement, but having a benefit plan from their employer really helps. Only 16% of people without job plans save on their own. So, Social Security isn't just a backup, it's a big part of our life story, helping us in many ways. Next, we will look into different scenarios of Social Security. Let's look at some critical changes in demographics and how they impact Social Security. First, there has been significant increase in life expectancy. Back in 1940, if you reached 65 years, you could expect to live another 14 years. Fast forward to today, and the number has grown to over 20 years. This means we are living longer, which is great, but it also changes how we plan for retirement. Now, regarding population growth, we are seeing a big jump in the number of older Americans. In 2023, there were about 61 million people aged 65 years and over. By 2035, that number is expected to climb to 77 million. This aging population will have significant implications for our society, from healthcare to social security demands. Lastly, let's look at the worker to beneficiary ratio. In 2023, we had about 2.7 workers supporting each social security beneficiary. However, by 2035, this ratio is expected to drop to 2.4 workers per beneficiary. This decrease could strain the social security system as fewer workers will support more retirees. These facts are crucial for understanding the future of social security and planning for our own retirement. Next, let's look at some social security facts. First off, you might be interested to know that an average almost 69 million Americans will be receiving a social security benefit each month. This means that over the course of the year, we are looking at about $1.6 trillion being paid out in benefits. Now, let's break down with a snapshot from December 2024. For retired workers, we have about 51.8 million individuals who together receive $102.3 billion in benefits. That's an average of $1,975 per month for each retired worker. And don't forget, there are also 2.6 million dependents of these retirees getting an additional $2.4 billion in benefits. Moving to disabled workers, there are about 7.2 million of them, who receives about $11.4 billion in total benefits. On an individual level, that's an average monthly benefit of $1,581. Their dependents, numbering around 1.1 million, are supported by $500 million. Lastly, for survivors of deceased workers, we see around 5.8 million beneficiaries. That benefits paid to them sum up to $8.9 billion, averaging to $1,546 per month per survivor. This data gives us a clear picture of how vast and crucial the social security system is for millions of Americans, supporting not just retirees but also disabled workers and survivors. I hope this helps you understand the scope and impact of Social Security in the American society. In the next slide, let's look at some more facts. Now, coming to senior citizens. For those of you who are 65 or will be over 65, Social Security isn't just a benefit. It is considered as a cornerstone of financial security in retirement. As of the end of 2024, nearly 9 out of every 10 people over the age of 65 are receiving Social Security benefits. That's a huge number, and it illustrates just how integral this system is to the lives of our senior citizens. Now, let's talk about the income aspect. On an average, Social Security benefits make up about 31% of the income for those who are over 65. But for many, it is even more critical. For instance, 39% of men and 44% of women in this age group receive at least half of their income from Social Security. And for some, it is their primary, if not sole, source of income. 12% of men and 15% of women over 65 rely on Social Security benefits for 90% or more of their income. This data, which was researched in 2024 using numbers from 2015, shows us the ongoing importance of Social Security. It's not about numbers, it's about ensuring a decent standard of living for our elderly population. In the next slide, let's look at the history, taxation, and types of benefits associated to Social Security. The Civil War pension program was established soon after the war began, with initial legislation in 1862 that granted benefits for disabilities directly resulting from the military service. Let's delve into the historical context of some pivotal social programs in the US. Back in 1862, the pension system continued practices from earlier times, where the amount you received was based on your military rank and how severe your disability was. If you were a private or a non-commissioned officer and fully disabled, you were entitled to $8 a month. This rate was set back in 1816. Then, in 1865 and 1866, Congress added 14 more types of disabilities that qualified for pensions, with rates between $15 and $25. These rates would see several increases over the years up until 1904, as documented by the Library of Congress. Fast forward to 1935, during the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act into the law. At that time, the average American's life expectancy was only 61, which was actually 4 years less than the retirement age set by the Social Security. Finally, in 1965, Lyndon Johnson's Great Society brought us Medicare, focusing on healthcare for the elderly. These historical facts give us a perspective on how these systems evolved to meet the changing needs of American society. More details on these pivotal moments can be found on the Social Security Administration's website, Library of Congress, and US Department of Veterans Affairs. I encourage you to explore these sources for a deeper understanding. President Franklin D. Roosevelt made this statement on August 14, 1935, as part of his address to Congress during the signing of the Social Security Act into law. This was during the Great Depression, a time when economic hardship was widespread and unemployment was high. President Franklin D. Roosevelt articulated the need for a safety net for American citizens, acknowledging that while the Social Security Act couldn't solve all problems, it was a vital step toward protecting individuals from the economic dangers of unemployment and poverty in old age, laying the foundation for a more robust economic structure in the United States. Both Social Security and Medicare are facing significant financial challenges. According to the Social Security Administration's summary of the trustees report, both programs are projected to have long-term financing shortfalls under their current benefit and financing structures. This means that without changes, they won't be able to sustain the benefits promised over the long term. In terms of costs, we are looking at a substantial increase in spending for both programs, outpacing GDP growth through at least the mid 2030s. This is largely due to the aging of our population, which naturally increases the demand for these services. Now, specifically for Medicare, this trend of cost growth is expected to persist even longer into the late 2070s. The reason? Not only are more people using these services, but there is also an increase in the volume and intensity of the healthcare services being provided. These insights are all backed by the data from the Social Security Administration's Trustees Report. Understanding these financial dynamics is crucial for planning our future, whether you are a current beneficiary, future retiree, or just interested in the health of these national programs. Now, let's dive into the various benefits that Social Security offers. Beyond retirement, there are disability, family, and survivor benefits, plus Medicare and supplemental income support benefits that Social Security offers. To get retirement benefits, you need to be fully insured, meaning you have worked 40 quarters where you have earned at least $1,510 per quarter as of 2022. For survivor benefits, you need to show that you have worked 6 out of the last 13 quarters. Here, the year 2022 is taken only as a reference. For 2024, 2025, and later on, please refer to the Social Security website for up-to-date information. Now, about funding. FICA taxes are the main source, taking 7.65% of your income on up to $147,000 as of 2022, split into different portions for each program. For example, retirement benefits get 5.30% of your payroll, and disability insurance gets 0.9%. Additionally, if you are a high earner, you might be subject to extra Medicare taxes. There is a 3.8% tax on certain investment income, or if your income exceeds specific thresholds. Plus, there is a 0.9% tax on wages over certain amounts, which only applies to the employees. Understanding how these benefits and taxes work can help you plan your financial future. In this slide, we will see how much of your Social Security money might be taxed. But first, we will have to figure out your modified adjusted gross income, otherwise called as MAGI. You would calculate MAGI by adding back things like interest from your municipal bonds or money you earned abroad that usually aren't taxed. Now, you might have a question about MAGI. Like, what is MAGI? How do you determine what your MAGI looks like? For that, let's look into the definition of MAGI, or Modified Adjusted Gross Income, which is a calculation used to determine eligibility for certain tax benefits, deductions, or to assess the taxability of Social Security benefits. It starts with your adjusted gross income, otherwise called AGI, and then adds back certain deductions or exclusions that were previously subtracted when calculating AGI. Once you understand your Maggie, you would be able to understand how much of your benefits get taxed, and also depends upon whether you are married or single. There are two numbers that you should know about. The first one is that you get taxed up to 50% of your benefits, and the second one is you get taxed up to 85% of your benefits. For married couples filing together, these numbers are like $32,000 and $44,000. Now let's look at an example. If you are single with a Maggie of $30,000 and you get $20,000 from Social Security as benefits, then your 50% inclusion looks like this. When you add half of your benefits to your Maggie, which is $30,000, plus half of your benefits is $10,000, that comes to $40,000. And if it's more than $25,000 but less than $34,000, you will have to tax the smaller of $10,000 or $7,500. Here you would owe taxes on $7,500. You will see how you get to $7,500 in the next slide. Now coming to the 85% inclusion. If your Maggie is over $34,000, then you would use the 85% rule, which would add the amount from the 50% rule. That $34,000 comes from what's called the adjusted base amount for single people or all others from the Social Security government department. If your Maggie plus 50% of your Social Security benefits goes over this amount, then up to 85% of your benefits might be taxable. Remember, these percentages show how much of your benefits might be taxed, not how much tax you will have to pay. In order to understand how you get to $7,500, pause the video and go through the steps. Alright folks, let's dive into how Social Security determines your retirement benefits. First, we need to understand that it's not one size fits all solution, and it doesn't hand out the same amount to everyone. Rather, it actively bases your payout on what you have contributed throughout your tenure. Here, first we figure out the average indexed monthly earnings, otherwise called AIME, by taking the top 35 years of pay, tweaking them to today's dollars, and dividing them by 420 months. Next, we turn that AIME into the primary insurance amount, or PIA, the main benefit at full retirement age, using a stepped formula, like 90% of the first chunk, then 32% of the next, and then 15% of anything extra. Then the timing kicks in. If you start early at 62, your benefit shrinks a bit, but if you wait until 70, it grows. Plus, if you are still earning cash before your full retirement age, it might dip temporarily. So your benefits reflects your work history and when you choose to cash in. So in short, your benefits directly connects to your lifetime earnings and adjusts based on when you choose to start. In this slide, you can see all the sources to calculate your benefits from Social Security Administration website. Pause the video and go through the URLs. Let's proceed by examining the diverse Social Security benefits that extend beyond retirement. First, consider disability benefits. These are available to workers experiencing severe physical or mental conditions that prevent them from performing work. However, there is a key requirement here. the impairment must persist for at least 1 year or result in death. And I should note it here that it is quite challenging to qualify for these benefits. Fortunately, these benefits are accessible at any age provided you have accumulated sufficient recent work credits. Next, let's transition to family benefits. If you are receiving retirement or disability benefits, your spouse becomes eligible as well. You should note it here. If you are receiving retirement or disability benefits, your spouse becomes eligible as well, provided your spouse is over 62 or someone caring for a child under 16 or someone disabled prior to age 22. Similarly, children qualify if they are under age 18 or under 19 and in high school, or disabled before age 22. Be aware here that the benefits may pause when your children age out, which is called as blackout period, but they will resume later when they are at age 62. Now, moving on to survivor benefits. Uh, Here, when a worker is entitled to benefits passes away, their widow or widower can claim support if they are 60 or older, or over 50 and disabled, or raising children under 16 or disabled before 22. Children follow the same eligibility criteria, and dependent parents may also receive benefits. Additionally, there is a modest $255 one time death benefit alongside a family maximum set at approximately 175% of the worker's base amount, or PIA. Finally, let's address the divorcee benefits. A divorced spouse can access benefits if the marriage lasted 10 years or more, and they remain unmarried or at least 62, and their ex spouse qualifies for benefits. Even if the ex hasn't claimed yet, benefits are available after 2 years post divorce, and importantly, this doesn't impact the ex spouse's payment. So, in conclusion, Social Security offers a robust array of support options. Okay, everyone, let's finish this up. We have looked at all great ways Social Security helps people across the country. First, it gives money to those who cannot work because of severe health problems, making sure they are not left struggling. Then, it supports spouses and kids with family benefits so they have what they need. Next, Social Security survivor benefits helps families who lost someone, offering comfort during tough times, and it even gives money to people after a divorce to keep them steady. Plus, we discovered that your benefits stem from the cash you earned over time, grow or shrink based on when you begin collecting, like earlier or later, and are funded by the taxes we all pay now. Basically, Social Security isn't just extra help, it's a strong base that holds up workers, families, and older folks no matter what life throws at them. On top of that, it's there for things like Medicare and disability insurance, showing how it touches so many parts of life. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy we could go through this, and knowing Social Security is here to protect and support us.